Streams up.
Musica?
Oh yeah.
I don't hear it. It's
What's
too
the matter?
bad. I don't hear the music.
Well, that's,
so
you know,
bad.
hey, they can hear us though, and but you know, when people can actually figure out the fact that we do this on purpose, that's going to be even better.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this is totally by design.
This is what we do, folks. So
World.
you can actually hear that.
This is totally
We
by
actually.
design.
Oh crap! I need water. This is what we do, and then it goes live in a minute. So we got about 10
Totally by
seconds.
design.
10 seconds.
10 segundos.
5, 4, 3, 2, and bingo! Live show. Here you are. Hey everybody, welcome. Wednesday the 13th. Hey Corey, what's going on, bro? How are you?
What's up? I'm doing well. How about
I'm
yourself,
doing pretty good. Welcome to Not Your Average Show. So if you guys just heard us talking through the intro, that's on purpose. It's by design. It's kind of a little bit behind the scenes of what you're going to get as we develop all this new stuff. It is Wednesday the 13th. We got a feature-packed show for you, which should be a lot of fun. So let me just introduce some of the topics for us today. We are going to be talking about the Cadillac V-Series bringing in a new power with Blackwing. Their new series going to be pretty cool. I'm pretty excited about that. Also going to be talking about some new micro LED not sunglasses, but smart glasses. So Corey's going to be introducing that topic. Flight simulator, which I enjoy. I also like some DCS World, which is a military flight sim, is going to bring in their first military aircraft, which is going to be the F-15. Going to take a look at that as well. And very cool. And then how would you power that in the future? Well, apparently some scientists are working on a way to introduce jet fuel that is actually made from CO2 in some new catalyst. Which is kind of neat. And also today, introducing to you guys, this is the remote part of the studio. So the other day when we started, Corey was actually sitting here in the couch.
I have teleported to another place.
Not really. He's not actually that far away. He's still in Florida, and he's still within like quick driving distance. The difference is this gives us both the opportunity to still work on other things that we need to get done on our daily days while we still continue to bring you more live stream content. So we're excited to do that for you. So, hey, what's going on, man? How's your day?
Not bad. Like I said, just working on some other stuff. It's such is the way it is right now. People are doing their things remotely, but there's still some cool news happening in the world and developments, which is basically why we do this, right? I mean, as we talked about, we come across these articles, we share them with each other all the time, and it generates conversation, and so that's kind of why we're bringing you guys in.
We invite you to join us on this exploration of what is basically, the collaboration of technology, aviation, and all this other new stuff. And again, for what would actually take us to produce the show. So actually, you know what? I'm going to bring up a surprise topic that Corey didn't know we were going to talk about. I'm going to bring up this for a minute. Surprise! This is what's called a video capture card. This is an HD60S. Okay. So one of the problems that we have here on the show is when we're working even locally or remotely, we have to take a lot of sources into this actual feed and combine them to bring them out to you. So my MacBook Pro runs as the main purveyor of the show, shall we say. It collaborates all that information. Corey's stream from now coming in on Skype, or his camera, which is a physical camera here in the studio when he's here. Also, we have to get his screen capture material back to the computer in some way, shape, or form to deliver it to you. Very difficult when I'm already using his screen share for Skype information, and Skype, for whatever reason, when he goes to share his information via the source, it goes completely bonkers. It doesn't like it.
It does.
So we're trying to work out new solutions because we were using another technology called Discord that would do screen sharing so that he could literally have two streams coming into here, and then I could take his screen information and transfer it to you. Problem: it doesn't transfer the audio, and also. Let's address the audio technical issues of the reverb from the other day, which is kind of funny. When we went to go do the edit, what did we find?
We found a little bit, maybe more than a little bit of reverb.
It was a 1970s, music radio DJ show, I think, up in this joint. It was kind of crazy. It was catchy. It was interesting. It had its own flair to it, but we also figured out that there was an audio sourcing issue going on. So these are all things that are part of the actual growth of a YouTube channel, that when we do certain things and you hit that live button, of course you want it to be perfect. I do.
But we kind of talked about that, and as our and the last one we did was just that this is not gonna be perfectly scripted, but that's part of our how
Pretty
we want
much.
to do it. We want to take you guys on excursions and go places, and Mike may talk about that maybe in a bit. But this is kind of
It
part of it.
is.
So
So, and that's pretty much the thing. So, if there's little foul ups, or if you guys are listening in the actual stream and you hear that there's a glitch or there's something that's going wrong, tell us. By all means, get in chat and like just hammer
yeah,
out a little message. It's easy. Just go to the little
yeah, post it
keyboard and just type something. Because I actually,
and hit the
yeah.
anarchy after.
What's that? Anarchy? Why anarchy?
Did you type
I
something?
I'm
Are you
typing
typing?
something. Yep, something. See, we have a direct.
Wow,
It's
wow. Hey, look, the owner of the show typed
a co-owner
something.
of the show. Thank you. Because Corey is, we're in this 50-50. If this boat sinks, guess what? We're both captains and we're both going down with it.
Ooh.
Bad.
I know where you're going with that metaphor, but I'm not sure I'm on
What?
board.
How the? Wait, whoa, 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 whoa. No,
No. The going down with the ship
wait. Look,
thing.
I mean, it's figuratively.
We're gonna set sail. This is
Oh
going
yeah, we're
places.
like the SS Minnow. Is that what we would be?
Isn't that the submarine,
No,
the
it's the
minnow?
3-hour tour from Gilligan's Island. But bump. The
Oh
SS
yeah, so
Minnow,
it
right?
is.
I think I'm right on that. If I'm wrong, somebody correct me. Anyhow, so what
In
should we
chat.
dive into first? You tell me. Tell me where we're going.
You're excited to talk about this Cadillac news. Do tell me what
Okay,
news you have.
I'm going to take over the show here for a minute, and I'm going to introduce to you guys basically something that's a little bit near and dear to my heart. Because for us going to the Rolex at the end of this month, we're quite excited to see what cars are going to show up. And as always, Cadillac is going to bring their, what I would say, their dominant vehicle for the past couple of years at Daytona. They have literally, since they set out to be back in racing, a few years forward, where their art and science, technology, design met forward with their cars, they started to dominate. Now, a little bit of the history on Cadillac. Cadillac was doing pretty badly about 7 or 8 years ago. They came up with the CTS V line, which was their big engine V8s, in some cases turbocharged, some cases not, line of cars known as the V Series. Now, that was also kind of augmented by the fact that when the Audi chief, then about 4 years ago, came over and took over control of Cadillac, he was looking to make that part of their mainstay line of racing enthusiast cars to do the same thing that Audi had with their racing cars, which was basically Audi won on Sunday, sold on Monday. That's kind of like the old adage. Is that the old adage? Right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So,
yep.
in that same vein, I was kind of wondering, they ousted the Audi chief, I think it's about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. But what ended up happening was they introduced these mid-level cars that weren't exactly the same as the old V Series that we once knew, and they were underpowered.
Mm-hmm.
We got into them at the
Yep.
last Rolex, and I was actually underwhelmed. The price tag was there, the power wasn't. And it was kind of shocking. However, it
Yep.
looks like
Yep.
Cadillac's going to, I guess they're going to fix this. They're going to give us what's called the Blackwing, the V Series Blackwings, which I guess is the only way that they could probably, I guess, market these Vs back up into their mainstay area, which is there's going to be V8 power. And there's going to be one
Yep.
other thing,
Yep.
manuals, which
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I've seen people in the comments already on this article and other articles saying, "Please, manual and
manual
V8."
V8. So they're looking to create that same analog super coupe kind of, or super sedan, so to speak, and bring that
Yeah.
that legacy
Yeah.
back. Which there's also a teaser video here. So you know what I'm going to do? You know what? I'm going to play the
play it?
teaser video because
Yeah,
why
play
not?
it.
It's a teaser.
Play it.
Yeah. Now, there's one other thing that we alluded to in the last live stream, which is Cadillac's engines at the Rolex make some hellacious noise. They're probably the best sounding V8s in the
Oh
crowd, and you
yeah.
always know where they are on track. They're
So
really nice.
Yeah.
And one of the greatest things, surprise folks, they're going to make this intro at the Rolex on January 30th, which we hope to be attending.
Yeah, that's cool.
So
that would be great.
Well, and then the other part is I'm going to try to work this into press passes, which could be pretty cool. So what's your feelings on it, man?
Dude, yeah, all the things you said. I mean, same thing. We don't have a Cadillac, but I've seen some. I've been in some, as you talked about with you and other places. It was the same thing. The car, even like looking at this picture here, digging the paint job. Some people don't like that. I know that's totally unrelated to like the car actually
Right.
itself.
Right.
It's something that is going to have some power, and actually, that's probably the biggest part that's nice. I mean, as a lot of these other manufacturers come out with improvements to technology, improvements to engines and stuff over the years. Some of the fun of driving is
Yeah,
lost,
the aesthetics.
and again, I've seen some of that down here in these comments, and particularly even on this website here, is people are like, "Hey, hopefully it's going to be rear drive. Hopefully it's going to have a V8. Hopefully it's going to be a
Right.
manual." It's just some of the connecting the driver with the car in a way that I
So
mean,
do
it's
you miss your old car
there.
though?
You
You miss
can
your old
get
car. Your old car had a
what'd you say? Sorry.
the old Mustang had a huge honking V8 in it, right? It was loud. It was the
Yeah.
Cobra.
So World. I had a 2004 Cobra Mustang in Torch Red that I had done a bunch of modifications to, and it was super
And
cool.
loud and analog.
And loud and obnoxious, but that was kind of the point, right? And it was
Right.
fun to drive.
Well, you talked to something about the aesthetics, right? The aesthetics of getting a driving. What are you
Yeah.
laughing at?
Just yeah, just
It
the
was loud.
it's it's one of those you think back and you're like, yeah, that was fun. It's
It
just
brings back good
brings back,
memories.
but that's again that emotional
Right.
connection, right? To cars, and partly that comes to powering pocketbook transactions, right? People want fun driving these
So wait, you
cars.
went the exact opposite. You went from something that was pretty audacious, loud, V8 powered, and you went to something which was practical, but a car that I envy as well, which is the Tesla 3, the Model 3, right? I like that car.
Yep, yeah, I do have a Model
Gorgeous
3.
car.
Yeah, and not to get too much off subject there, but part of the only well, obviously there's various reasons, but one of the reasons I did go with the 3 over other stuff was that the 3 isn't too
Right.
slow, right? We're not talking a Prius here. I had been interested in, as you guys know, technology, cars, racing, but and the Teslas have a bit of technology there, but it's not
Right,
slow
right,
either.
right.
So, and I don't want to go off topic to Tesla versus Cadillac here on
No, no,
Cadillac,
no.
but
It's
I
aesthetics.
guess the way I'm linking the two together is the joy of just driving.
But
Part of that is the sound and the handling
right.
and things, but yeah, but going back to these cars, yeah, they are probably gonna have attitude,
Well,
probably
and
is what
that's
I'd
the thing
say.
that I'm looking forward to, right? So for me, I
Yeah.
followed the V series for a long time. Matter of fact, if you guys go back to
Mhm.
the original Forza on the, I think it was on the original Xbox, going back way back when the CTS came out, it was like, wow, this is amazing. The V series, big power, right?
Yeah.
V8s
Yep.
hitting,
Yep.
and that nice throaty throttle sound, and bringing in that basically that standard GM Corvette motor and throwing it into everything that had doors on it. That was in the performance lineup for GM at the time, right? And the other thing was
Mhm.
it's a visceral car. You get a little bit more of experience, just like you said. It's that
Yep.
aesthetic. But
Yep.
it seems to me as everyone
Mhm.
goes to their what do they call it? Their murdered out black versions of vehicles these days. What they're kind of
Yep.
missing
Yep.
is they're all going to these Tiptronic transmissions or these dual clutch transmissions.
Mhm.
They're taking
Mhm.
that power steering beefiness and they're throwing it out of the car and making the car less analog because they're putting in these traction control devices, launch control
Yep.
devices, and
Yep. Active suspension,
yeah,
all this kind of
and
stuff.
at some point, yes, you're going to make tremendous lap times, but I can guarantee you that
Mhm.
85% of the BMW M5s out there are never going to see a lap on a track ever in their life, if not more than that. Okay. And where CTSVs probably won't, this is basically a level of street credit that I understand that these guys want. However, it's great
Yep.
to have the option, right? It's good to know that your car could only not be capable driving back and forth to work at maybe not legal speeds, but also enjoying the fact that you could take this thing out and flog it on a racetrack.
Of course.
So
Of course, yeah. I mean, they're trying to appeal to the people that are gonna
would
buy these
yeah,
cars, right? And, obviously, that's a business decision, that's how that works. But, yeah, I think it's gonna come back to, the fact that people as you said, the V series before, it was almost like a surprise. These
right.
cars came out, it was a sedan, it looked cool, but it was like, "Okay, it's a sedan," but then you're like, "Oh, dang,
It's fast.
it's fast, and
And
it's fun to drive.
they were
Oh,
always
dang."
close on that verge of stepping into that BMW territory, and even in a couple of cases towards I would say almost the early 2010s, they were actually being mentioned in the same conversation with the 3 Series, and people were saying in some cases they were saying,
Mhm.
"Hey, they're actually better in some cases than the 3 Series." And then it just seemed to
Yep.
like that reputation kind of fell apart a little bit for them. Although throughout that, the last 4, I think it's going to go on 4 years now, they've been dominant on the racing scene at the Rolex. I mean,
Yep.
dominant.
Yep,
Acura's
it's
throwing
true.
their hat at them. They've
Yep.
lost. Porsche has been up against them. What was it? Porsche, I think. Mazda, the team that I would actually favor to win, maybe even parallel to Cadillac, because I just want to see Mazda get back into the winning of things. Right? They
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
have
oh
the
yeah.
credibility or the sustainability. Their cars usually fall apart at some point. So
Yeah, we'll see.
it'll be neat to
We'll see.
see. But hey, folks, again, this is all in build up coming up for the Rolex because if you couldn't tell, it's my Christmas to go to the Rolex. I really love that race. I enjoy it. So
Yeah, yeah.
I am definitely looking forward to the day. So with that said, I will kick it down the road to Corey, and we can talk about Spectajewels, right?
Spectre Jewels. Yeah. So basically, the next thing I wanted to talk about was something I ran across, and it's called. Well, it's basically an announcement from what basically would have been CES, but we
Hmm.
know due to COVID and whatnot, it's looks a bit different. But regardless, we're talking about the VisuX new micro LED
Mm-hmm.
smart glasses. So basically, going through this, this company's not particularly a new company. They had a model that was at CES last year that wasn't too bad. It turned some heads. It was called the Blade. It was $1,000 model. But kind of what going along with this, the one they've shown off now and recently, it's basically it's still smart. They actually want to wear. They may be too
Right,
heavy or something. These don't look too bad. The one thing that I wanted to point out as well is that since there's projectors on both sides of the
right,
glasses, both sides of your eyes, on the right and left eye, it basically is able to project what could be stereoscopic images out in your field of view. And it's something to take note of is all the other things they're trying to build into this
right,
model to really market it to maybe like enterprise or
right.
super users. They've got some things like a Wi-Fi and optional LTE, stereo speakers, noise canceling microphones. I think what they're trying to do is make it more than just a set of glasses with like Amazon Echo in it.
Well, look, you know,
Something that
Apple
actually does
Apple
something
Glass is right around
else.
the corner. So they're
Yes.
saying
Yep.
that
Yep. Next thing I was going to say too,
yeah.
Apple's got something coming as well. We know actually, if we go a bit further down, Intel actually has a 30%
Hmm.
stake in this company, which I didn't know until I'd read this article. So I thought that was kind of cool. And they had that actually all the way back in 2015. So it might be something that's, and as you said too, Google and of course Apple are
So
still
is
working on their
Facebook
stuff too.
because Facebook has
So
basically been dominant this holiday season
Facebook is in
with
there
the
too.
Quest 2.
Facebook.
We were both early adopters. We
Yep.
both got
Yep.
Quests, and I like my Quest. I
Yep. We did.
occasionally still plug it in and so on and so forth. The problem is in trying to find something
Hmm.
to do with technology and not too. It's busy. It's busy time in technology. There's a lot of stuff that's competing for the
It is
time,
quite, yeah.
right? And the difference is that I'm
Mhm.
interested to see how they're going to start implementing more of this because Microsoft even, and I think the one that we were both more excited about almost years ago was HoloGlass, right?
Microsoft
HoloLens, the
HoloLens.
HoloLens.
Yeah, and actually, that they're still working on that version. HoloLens is so one thing I'll say about this pair of glasses versus HoloLens as well. If you remember HoloLens, which I've used multiple times in some studies and things too, and had a nice time to be able to try them on and try them to do different things. They're more along the lines of like AR,
Right,
augmented reality, and just if again if you're not clear, if you're tuning in not clear, AR would be a technology that where you wear the glasses like mine, let's say, right? Put the
right.
glasses on and then you interact with objects that are presented in front of you. Let's say you could look at a table in front of you, and then the lenses would project maybe a
On the
3D image
table, right.
on the
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
table itself, and you could interact with that.
Hmm.
This, if you look at the images from this glass, it looks more like a heads-up display kind
Which
of
would
thing.
have different,
Um,
commercial applications that I would think would be amazing because
exactly,
could you imagine just
exactly.
tying this into something like For Flight? You're going out doing a flight and you've got this augmented reality sitting there.
I was just gonna
Sorry, I
say
stole it from you.
that I was just gonna say that there's and again, some of the viewers might not know too, but there are systems
There
already in
are.
airplanes for the flight crew on the flight deck to see out in front and see images projected
Right,
out in
correct.
space. But they're kind of in the way of this glasses here. They're kind of like holograms that project they kind of
Right.
float in space. There's been some work with Microsoft HoloLens and other ones to also project more of an AR feel, where without getting too technical, there are roads kind of in the air that pilots
True.
need to fly for certain approaches to
Yep.
airports and whatnot. They are now working with ways to project these kind of roads into the visual view of the pilot with
But even
something like
beyond that,
this.
situational awareness, right?
Yeah.
So look, when you're flying an
Oh yeah.
aircraft or you're
Yeah.
doing even something like driving your car, right? When you turn away for a
Yep.
second,
Yep.
you lose the visual of your speedometer, you lose the visual of the traffic around you, unless you're scanning
Yep.
something indirectly, right? Imagine if you jump in your car,
Yep.
you slap these glasses on, and all of a sudden you put your turn indicator on. It reminds you with the turn indicator right here in your eyeball. But then blind spot monitoring becomes something of the past because it gives you a big
Oh yeah.
flashing amber sign out of this side saying, hey, by the way, there's an idiot, about ready to run you over coming in that lane. However, even with
Yep.
aviation, it'd be really cool, especially in low visibility, low light situations, to have an overlay of a synthetic environment, like that synthetic view that you're talking
Yep.
about. And basically, when I scan
Mhm.
around the cockpit now, guess what? Just like I'm in an F-35 or a Raptor, F-22 Raptor, they do have very advanced heads up. Then what they call it
Yep.
is look down,
Yep.
shoot down capability. Wherever they look, their
Yep.
weapon system can track, and as it's tracking, when you look at that and you maintain your visual focus on your enemy at this point, you don't have to have this
Mhm. Oh yeah.
dogfight in space where you get lock on. Now the lock on point is different because there are weapons that still require that. But even in things like the Apache, they had look down shoot down capability where everywhere they looked the guns went to a
Yep.
certain degree, right?
Yep. Mhm.
So
Yep.
in
And
a broad
I
sense, I
think
don't know 100%, but
that's all super
right.
cutting edge. That's all very cutting edge because it's military technology anyway. But I think something like this would maybe, if we just think about maybe the average user, that they might want to market this to down the road when it finally gets to production and a lot of the kinks worked out. Again, you put these things on maybe in the morning, even if you maybe didn't have the need
Right.
for glasses, and you can, as you said, it's like on your phone, your wrist there. You've got an Apple
I do
smartwatch. The watch tells you
a
tons of
lot.
stuff, tons of interface to your phone, right? We'll just imagine again the ability that these glasses could maybe do that too. You could see calls you need to take, as you see there. You could take directions on
Hmm.
these things. You could see your and just like you mentioned with the car, you get into your car and maybe it links in your car automatically, like you said. The directions you had on your phone
How
go to the
about this?
car, go to your heads-up display. I mean, it's like a fully integrated environment, and you're never unconnected
That's
because it's
true.
on your
And then here's
face.
the funniest part. Like that you would never lose your car again in a parking lot because you'd walk out of your store and it would draw you a little green crumb path, right? Down into the
Like,
parking
hey,
lot showing you where you
hey,
would have to go to get your car.
yeah. So if you're going the wrong, it'll be
Hey,
like, hey,
your cars are
your
there,
car's over
idiot.
there.
You got to go
Turn
back the other
around.
way. It's over that way, right? That'd be pretty cool. So
Yeah. So
that's kind of neat technology.
there you go.
I'd like to see the applications. Now, I think that it's kind of weird to me though,
Yeah.
because in the conversation of wearables and especially going into VR technology
Hmm.
where this goes into, there's always been this sense that VR is dead, and it was about 2 years ago that people were saying VR is dead. There's no more VR. It's not going to come back.
Hmm.
And as a matter of fact, the
Yep.
standard
Yep.
for VR, the ports that were on most of the video cards, those Type C ports that could have connected directly to the new VR standard, have all been almost but abolished. And
Yeah. Exactly.
I'm kind of interested in the conversation going forward as to will this introduce a second wave, because the Quest obviously I think could have been arguably the technology buy of the winter season. Maybe it seemed like they were out of stock just about everywhere. It was like the Cabbage Patch
Yeah.
Kid of the season
Yeah.
almost, maybe.
Yeah. I think so.
So anyhow, I just wonder what this is going to do for the conversation with VR and moving that technology forward, because I could also see applications like this in gaming.
Oh man, we've talked about that already before we did the show. Yeah, we talked about again. You sit down at your flight sim, or you sit down in your computer to do anything. Let's imagine if it's like a total normal computer, right? You get your standard game, you sit at your computer, you got a screen, and you got a
Right.
keyboard and a mouse, or
Hmm.
maybe a joystick, right? And you want to play a game that's a driving simulator, which seems to be popular now too, or obviously a flight simulator. If you had these goggles that were maybe mixed reality, we haven't talked about that quite just now, but mixed reality where you can see holograms projected in space, in physical space, where maybe the keyboard can be seen as well, but also the console of the plane, the rear view mirror of your car on the left, your racing game. You know, you could see all this without the need of anything else except your headset. And you wouldn't have that problem that some gamers will have with some of these where, okay, I need to know where my keyboard is though, but I can't see anything because I have a
Right,
VR
right, right,
headset on.
right.
Well, it's mixed reality. You can kind of pass through.
It's
The possibilities with that are kind
Well,
of
even in some
endless,
games, like,
actually.
a high score, like showing up in the bottom corner, like an integrated reality where if you're doing like playing an RTS real time strategy game and they're showing you
Yep.
not only what's on your screen, but it creates this semi-authentic extension of around the screen that you didn't really anticipate. Something that's like, it gives you that little bit of surround sound feel in your game. And I could see totally how those applications would be even, more advanced, especially right now. I'm sure they're limited to certain colors, right? Obviously, the more colors, the more layers,
Yeah.
the more
Yeah.
complexity. And even so, however,
Or
yeah,
resolution, all that
resolution
stuff.
issues and how that would
Mhm.
actually work. And I'm curious to see what Apple's solution is going to be, because they're also saying today that there's, I guess, the one more thing is coming from Apple very soon, and that one more thing could
Okay.
be the glasses. So,
That would be cool. Well, they got a car on the way. They're not close enough for the car, I imagine, right?
well, that's for another show and another
I
topic, my
mean,
friend.
yeah.
Don't wear ourselves thin.
Sounds
You
great.
can't do that to us.
Sounds great. Sounds great.
So yeah, I like it. Hey guys, and if you like it and you want to see more information like that on the show, do us a huge favor. First of all, if you haven't already, go ahead and hit the like button, because that would help us out a lot here on the channel. If you haven't become a subscriber, we invite you to subscribe, because that also helps us out, and we appreciate all the support. And that would be fantastic, right?
Great. Great. Yeah. Would love that. Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Excitement all around. Okay, excitement. What's next?
While we're talking about planes,
What?
tell me about this F-15 that I need for
All
my
right,
sim.
here you go. So here we go. You can now buy an or you will be able to buy, I believe, in the not too distant future. The day might have been. Is it today? No. Was it today? Anyhow, there's the
18th.
18th. Sorry, my bad. So Microsoft Flight Simulator, which launched this August to rave reviews in some areas and some criticism by pilots like myself, is now going to get into the realm of challenging DCS World in some areas. Now, DCS World is the very well-known digital combat simulator, which is being played all over the globe, which has high-end and in some cases very expensive $80, depending on how you look at it, airplanes that you buy and basically plug into the DCS World, and they encompass just about everything out there. Now, there hasn't been a military jet in a flight simulator game since Microsoft's Acceleration that came as a boxed item as the F-18 Hornet, and it actually came in Blue Angels colors as part of the Acceleration add-on to Flight Simulator X. And in the same vein, here we go down this road again. Microsoft is now getting ready to release an F-15, and it includes a lot of different variants, which is the F-15C, the D, the E, which is the Strike Eagle, and a few others with different kinds of payloads. And it's going to be pretty fantastic, because this is going to be that supersonic, everybody wants to fly it, enjoyable flight military sim add-on for flight sim.
Great, yeah.
And for me, okay, and this is only for me, because a lot of people may or may not have this. Okay, I do have the sim rig, which is part of the videos here on the channel. I also have I have a force feedback joystick, one of the older ones, the G940. I have the throttle, and I do have the pedals. And I'm excited to see if maybe this will be the introduction of hopefully force feedback and a couple other features coming back into the Microsoft Flight Simulator world. I do have my critiques of the Flight Simulator where it's not exactly 100% authentic, but hey, man, it'll be nice to fly an F-15 around for a bit. And check out the video. The video's cool.
That'd be cool, yeah. Be cool. Yeah, you gonna play it? Or?
I forget how long this one is. Hold on, give me 1 second. Maybe we will.
Yeah, sure.
It's a little too long, but we can put a little bit in there. Let them gasp at its beauty.
The F-15, one of the most iconic and recognizable jet fighters in the world, is very shortly about to be a part of Microsoft Flight Simulator via a third-party add-on from
It's pretty looking plain.
DC Designs. The developers recently got in touch with me to discuss the new plane, asking if I wanted to take a look.
For a game like Microsoft Flight Sim that doesn't even show like crashes, and again, I'm not not saying you should crash your plane, but where I'm going with that is, how operational and how integrated do you think these like bombs and missiles and stuff is going to be? Are they going to, because there's already missions in Flight Sim.
I don't know.
Are there going to be missions for combat planes? I mean, or where does this possibly open up other avenues of multiplayer, because you can already fly with your friends in different versions of the Microsoft Flight Sim, as we know. Well, now you got missiles and guns. What people invariably the question will always
Can
be
I blow them
now,
up?
okay, can I shoot these? Can I shoot my friends? What can I do with this?
Can I blow you up?
And I don't
so
know.
DCS World grew up out of a Microsoft back in the old days used to have their basic flight simulator variant, and then they came out with Combat Simulator, right? And then
Yeah, exactly.
what ended up happening was that entire series got sold off as Prepared 3D, which became an actual base graphic engine for actual real full-time large flight simulators, which I've been in, and they're pretty cool. The graphics have been upgraded time after time after time. I will say in the graphical front, unless you have massive scenery packs for like X-Plane X, so on and so forth, there is nothing in a long time that's going to touch the scenery that comes on the base unit of Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. It is phenomenal. So to integrate that with what's going to be an afterburning, full performance, full featured F-15 Eagle is going to be pretty freaking awesome. Can't say anything else about that. But yeah, can you blow up your friends? I mean, are they going to start? It would be great to set up dogfights, right? Attacks and things of that nature, and going into all these different elements. So that would be, I think, one of the new iconic moments in Flight Simulator 2020. So for everybody,
Be quite cool. Yep.
X.
I mean, this kind of dovetails into one of our past videos. Well, we talked about graphics cards, and that's always on everybody's mind,
Right.
about this time. So, I mean, yeah, once they get some more graphics card power and hopefully that stuff becomes a bit more available, there might be hopefully more people that would join the Microsoft Flight Sim
Right.
community, because some people might still be limited actually on hardware to even start playing it. I mean, it could be.
Well, I mean, it was
we'll
also
see.
interesting to know that Microsoft Flight Simulator is going to finally, for the first time ever in the history of Flight Simulator, is going to make the jump to consoles. Which
Yes. Oh,
it's
yeah.
always been a huge void in the console market, which is finding an actual decent Microsoft or any variant of a good flight sim for a console. And with the power of consoles today,
exactly.
if I could go out and buy a $500 box, it's going to perform as well as the $13,000, $14,000 box that other people have produced to play the same type of simulation. I mean, first of all, the cost savings is going to be immense, but secondly, the add-ons are coming. So companies, and we're going to get into those. There's going to be further discussions. Companies like Honeycomb and others out there are really going to start tackling this console market, which has been left basically underserved by the flight community for such a long time. But it's a part of the bread and butter now. So.
Yep. And with the integration of and again virtual reality headsets into Microsoft Flight Sim, could see some cool stuff happening with
now this is going to be another upcoming video is going to be me actually getting in, and one day we're going to have Corey here in the studio where we actually go in and we're going to try the Oculus Quest with Microsoft Flight Simulator. Now I already tried it out.
Gonna be great.
And I was disappointed in some areas, and the big disappointment is something called flat light. Flat light is when basically you look out at an object off in the distance and it all has one shape, one shade, one color, and it's hard to pick out features. Things become featureless in the distance. Well, there were some flat light issues in Microsoft Flight Simulator in the VR environment that don't show up in, say, in a 2K or a 4K environment that have more pixels and better pixel depth and color. So whether or not that can be something that's cured in the VR headsets because they do have their limitations, well, that's yet to be seen.
Yep.
So.
Yeah. I'm excited, but that'll be a future video.
Future video. That is right. Something to look forward to here on the channel. Anything else to add on that, bad boy? I don't know.
No, I don't think so. I mean, January 18th, probably the thing maybe to add was we'll be looking for something from us around that date that probably will have something to do with
perfect. 15. That's not what I'll probably have it on my channel. I will. So there's one other thing to be said, that they will not make these study level simulations, which is basically like DCS World. So DCS World, like I hinted at before, in the combination of what they've made their world into, when you get into a jet and DCS World, you literally have to start the thing. You can go to quick modes, but it's not as quick as flip up a switch on your controller, select a weapon system, and then it goes active and you shoot like they do in some of these other sims. No, DCS World is literally select the proper page in the MFD, activate the proper weapon cycle, activate the proper seeker within that weapon, then change changes the HUD. What range would you like to select? It's a lot more complex. So a lot cooler in my respect. But hey, that's just me.
Yep, but gotta have a market for it. So
You know what the
there you go.
funniest thing about that is, though? They don't fly on digital fuel. Which is a lead into our next subject, which I'm going to hand over here to Corey, which we'll talk about nothing more than... Go ahead.
Yeah, so our next topic is basically I found it on ARS Technica, and basically the synopsis of this article is the idea that some scientists are working on figuring out an effective process to use catalysts to convert CO2, which everybody knows CO2 is everywhere and we generate it and things, but converting that back into fuel to be reburned. Now, sounds pretty cool. Yeah, to be. So, just to skim a little bit for you guys, basically, the catalyst is, because sometimes you read these science articles and it sounds really cool, but then the process of making it happen is very complex or very cost prohibitive, and it's not really feasible, right? It's something that sounds great, but it's like, yeah, but how are we going to do this on a large scale? To go down this article, maybe just a little bit here, it talks about the catalyst in this particular study is iron, magnesium, potassium. Those are not hard to generate, hard to make materials. So basically what they're working on is finding a way to use these to run CO2 over these catalysts and convert back into various fuels, one of which can be jet fuel.
Jet fuel, yeah.
So basically, they're talking that they can maybe you could have a way to capture CO2, not just in the atmosphere, but maybe as it's burned somehow, and then whether not so much in the air, but in probably factories on the ground, bring that CO2 back in there, and then have this process run on a obviously larger scale, cool, and then regenerate jet fuel. So I have good thoughts about it. It sounds great. It's another one of these things where, I read a lot of science
the input's got to be worth the return, though,
right? A lot of like scientific breakthroughs, right? And they're all sound great, but again, it's that same thing, like putting it into practice. Can it work on a large scale?
It's like a return on investment. That's what it's got to be, right? So if what you're going to put into it is going to get you out better than what you had before, then I'm all for it. And look, jet fuel. If you've ever been around a major airport, you can smell it when it's burning. Okay, I can tell you that it's hard to get on certain days when it's snowing in Denver because the jet fuel trucks are in high demand and they have to cart more of it around the airport because it's snowing so bad and they have to fill up all the tanks a little extra to get in line. However, that being said, it is on a per gallon per share basis per seat of an aircraft. Ironically, in some cases, you can still get across the country burning almost as much fuel, and in some cases nowadays with the more efficient engines with a higher bypass ratio, you can actually get across the country using less gas per person per seat per mile. Now that's a caveat, right? Yes, you're still you're burning a ton of gas, but you're burning it all together with 250 people on board. And if that ROI, that return on investment, was you're only using a small amount of potassium or iron or so on, and the process is not that complex, it doesn't generate a lot of heat, and when it does this, it doesn't create some other super destructive ozone killing gas.
If it has positive benefit on supply, but also it's feasible and, like I said, return on investment as far as electricity to power the process. Sure, great, perfect.
So you're saying that there might be a future one day when I breathe into a paper bag, shove it in the back of my Bell 407 Jet Ranger in my backyard, and off I fly to the other side of Florida?
I just don't think that's what I said.
Oh, come on now. But one can dream, right?
But yes, certainly. I mean, so part of me as I read an article like this is again, as I said, how feasible is this? Is it going to actually be something that we see, that we'd actually see in practice? And then I also wonder exactly about alternative ways to power planes in the future. So
I envision a new airplane, right?
Yeah.
Where coach is all equipped with pedals, right? Everybody in the back who's in coach. But look, But
Yep,
you
yep.
could call it like workout airlines, right? All your workout fanatics and all your keto freaks can turn around, get in the back, right? They jump in back, and you're
Nice.
like, all right, we're off to Hawaii.
Nice.
Yeah,
to
get
paddling.
paddling, and we'll see you guys when we get there. Because wouldn't that be
Mhm.
kind of interesting, nonetheless?
Because you just keep feeding them oxygen because they're gonna make
Right.
CO2,
Oh, you could. Oh, I see what you did there.
and then you can make jet fuel.
So they all have to wear masks, and it all goes into a tank underneath.
Exactly.
So while they're assisting, so we could call it
Exactly.
keto jet assist CO2 conversion. Keto
Keto
assist
assist.
engines. That would be fantastic. I would now let's see that in Flight Simulator, right?
We have biological catalysts in the coach.
That'll give a whole new meaning to the word steerage class. Oh, because they could all sit in the back and literally, hey, so
Yeah,
about for the
yeah,
next 5 minutes,
yeah.
you guys get to steer the. No, forget it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Good times. Good times.
interesting. Emerging technologies
So, yeah.
with the fact that if we look at, I guess, fuel in general, and look, it's an issue. A lot of people turn around are convinced that jet fuel is the worst actual thing in the world that you could burn because they haven't made any efficiency changes and so on and so forth. I can guarantee you that's absolutely patently false. The newer model airplanes that have come out over the last 15 years have all been given more and more efficient engines year over year. It just seems to be that there's another high bypass engine that's coming out that even at 15% efficiency over the long run, over what they were before, because we went from nowhere. We went, oh my God, the first 737s had these cigar cylindrical low bypass, all fuel burning.
Yep.
Very little, interaction there, and those engines were highly inefficient compared to today.
Oh yeah.
So these, what we call the ones with the new turbofans, okay, they have ushered in a whole different type of engine, and it would be interesting to see if you could even get that down. Because imagine if this would actually be a return of say 15 to 20% of the fuel could be reclaimed from the actual atmosphere at some point in the future. The weight savings alone is immense. You could carry up to 1,000 to 2,000 to 3,000 pounds less of fuel, okay, in smaller aircraft, and in big aircraft, that could be a sum savings of 10,000 pounds of fuel.
Yeah, I mean, far enough in the future, if that would be something they could do on board the plane, then that would be something you could maybe realize. But this currently, from what I'm seeing here, it looks like it's definitely going to be something that would be ground-based in a factory somewhere.
But of course, until proof of concept.
But
until
what's
proof
that?
of concept.
Yeah, exactly. It's all technology and how well it's integrated. So
until we just levitate. That's going to be the next one. I think that's going to be the next propulsion is going to be actual manipulation of the Earth's magnetic field at some point. Why not?
I don't know. I don't know.
It's not too crazy, right? You can do it at some point, maybe.
Well, I mean, it's just as far as magnetism goes, you can make anything just levitate on your desk.
True. I want the Jetsons.
I think it comes.
I want the Jetsons.
What's that?
I want the hop in, the little dish-shaped object, 4 seats, the SUV of the sky, hit a button, right?
I only want it if it makes that sound.
Okay, but it's funny though. Even in the Jetsons cartoons, they still depicted a tailpipe. There was still.
I did see that. Yep, makes those little like rings.
Little rings. It was still. They were still conscious enough to say, "Oh, by the way, this thing's got to burn something, so it's not just going to float around. Hey, why don't we put a tailpipe on it?" And also throwing back to the cars of the day, which also had whale tails and all this other stuff. It had a little bit more decorative, that type of art to it. But hey, anything's worth it, I'd say.
So,
we still got to get past one thing though. I still haven't seen the awesome working, I'd say, quadcopter people mover yet. I know that there's prototypes in China. I know that Bell has got theirs on the line. And in personal, I guess, motivation or what do you want to call it? Personal, what would it be? Personal aviation?
I mean, we can get into this in another topic for sure, because I mean, I'm following that as well.
Oh, yeah, I do that.
You are as well too, but they're talking like, so you guys may have heard things like heliports, but a new term I'm starting to see is called vertiports.
Vertiports. Vertiport. Ports.
and it's going along with urban air taxi news. And we can definitely get into that maybe like tomorrow for something, to talk about. But there's actually a decent amount of players in that market. Bell's in there, Airbus is in there, some other big players, and yeah, we could talk about that.
Oh yeah, look at this Vertiports. I mean,
and yeah, Vertiports.
It's, okay, it's a tremendously great rebranding of helipads. Okay.
Of course,
that's really,
of course.
You're really not, reshaping the wheel here. You're just, and look, they're still going to be noisy as hell, because anytime you slap a prop around like that in the air, especially any blades like that at that type of speed, they're going to be loud. I mean, our DJI drones, when we're out flying them,
yeah, they're louder.
Yeah, they're way louder. Now they might not be susceptible to some of the aerodynamic forces that we see because of their quad car, their quad development. However, it's interesting how loud they can actually get at some point. So there is that to be said for that. So future topics.
Yeah.
So anyhow, guys, again, if you like what you have to say, Corey, why don't you tell them what to do?
Yeah. So again, if you like what we see, we hope you do. We're just over here hanging out with you guys and making all trying to find out new stuff. Please like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. There's going to be links down below to all the things we talked about, as well as some other things like, Mike and myself, we have our own Twitch gaming channels. We do enjoy games too.
No, I hate games.
In addition to all the things we talk about on the show. So yeah, please drop by there too. Give us a follow there. That's always appreciated. And yeah, the main thing, just hang out with us, enjoy it, and comment and share with your friends and all that good
stuff.
So
the other part, I guess, about the Twitch thing is, by the way, if you guys go to my Twitch channel, I'm gonna I'm a little bit of a potty mouth on there sometimes, because if there's a game that's frustrating me, it's not exactly. Yeah. I don't withhold my feelings on the subject, so sometimes I will get a little frustrated at a game. But also for me, come February 9th is when my racing season. Should my pedals ever come back to me, then I should be able to get back to racing. And I also live stream all my races, so that'll be cool for you guys. Maybe some of you.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, nice.
Inside the big. Maybe we should do a video next week. Get something prepared on the new video of the new rig, the way it's today. We haven't done one because the old.
Well, we can. Well, one's the 18th. 18 is next Monday.
Maybe we'll do something with that. So yeah, the other thing is that the old video. So if you guys come to this channel, you're gonna see that there's one called My Sim Rig. That's like 3 years old. It's like been redesigned since. It's got way more cool stuff on it. So that should be kind of interesting.
Cool stuff.
All right, are we done for the day, do you think?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, as we said before, just please leave some comments if there's anything in particular you guys would like us to chat about. We're open to looking at anything, really. I mean, there's a lot of cool things going on. Not always in the mainstream news, but that's why we're bringing. We're trying to find this stuff for you guys. It's cool. It is cool. So let us know.
Yeah, hey guys, thank you so much for tuning in today. We appreciate the effort, the time, and the energy for you taking your time to be here with us today. So when you get a chance, again, like, subscribe, and we will be bringing you more live content. Tomorrow we'll be back in the remote studios, hoping to get on about 1:30. So we're still going through the technical charades here of getting every other thing. There's little stuff that pops up from time to time, but hopefully tomorrow we'll be on 1:30 sharp, so you guys can start looking for that as the regular time to start the live stream, and then we'll go from there. So thanks for your time today. We appreciate everybody. Have a great day, and we will be talking with you real soon. Take care. Bye bye.
Take it easy.
Next